Welcome everyone to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's well out there in the wide world. Wow, what a week. Now, interestingly enough, the Mercury retrograde, we still have a few more days left of that. And I hope everyone at home is using it wisely or utilizing it. So much stuff has come out. It's crazy. All of the things with our good old so-called ex-pres Barry Soweto and his, so-called lover on Tucker, and then all this other information sort of like around him keeps kind of pouring out, right? And like we kind of knew that this was part of it. This was part of the plan, was to expose the chain of command and the chain of corruption that these guys, these bad actors, these deep staters have been implementing, right? What else? Weather wars, more weather wars, big storm, we're in the hurricane season on the East Coast, I guess, of North America, and there's a big system brewing and a lot of word of manipulation. And if you pay attention, like I was saying, clear across on the other side of the globe, on the other side of the world, there was a big earthquake in Morocco, and there's a few other things, right? But this is kind of one of those indicators. Now, other people are also saying that within this weather manipulation scenario, both sides have parts of the technology, or both are utilizing it, right? This is very possible, very, very possible. I mean, in a lot of ways, if it is happening, it gives a reason partly to why Space Force was created, not just around information. Right. Well, I mean, everything is so connected, right? But anyway, that's another thing, right? So we're going to keep our eyes on that, and just more stuff with the COVID and the lockdowns and how they're kind of pushing this narrative and pushing it out. And as things come out around Biden and the administration there and all of the things, and Hunter Biden, they start pushing this, and you start to see in certain areas where, like the deep state controlled areas where they're picking this up, right? And it's moving into Europe and into Australia and to other parts of the deep state controlled world, right? And yeah, it's part of the next agenda, right? Like they really want any form of a lockdown to lock us in, right? And then, on the back burner of that is the censorship and the pushing for clamping down on the internet and the digital ID and all of that kind of stuff, right? It's insanity. These people are insane. These people that are attempting to control our world. And it's becoming so apparent, I think. This is definitely what was part of the plan, was to expose these guys and to get them out in the open so that the everyday people, that the majority of people would start to see this. And I really hope that they're seeing it. I really do. I mean, this is why we're here in some ways. So much is happening day to day to day to day that it's really tough to keep up to. Yeah, Elon Musk jumped in on the whole Barry Soweto deal and implicating him further in decrepit behavior. Oh yeah, and like more stuff coming out with Maui and just the land grab there. And, then these deep staters trying to control these areas on the planet and to create their little smart cities, their 15-minute cities, their control grid cities. And this is part of their plan, right? But this is coming out, more and more and more is coming out, this corruption, the levels of just complete corruption and a total takeover of certain areas of our system. And it has to come out. It has to continue to come out. So here we are on Sunday. So we'll see what's going on for the rest of the week, for the close of the Mercury retrograde, which ends on the 14th. And there's always kind of like the shadow period. Yeah, let's just see what comes up. Let's see what's going to happen for the week. What can we expect? What do we have to be sort of prepared for? How do we navigate some of this energy? What's going on? What do people need to hear? What's going to help them? What's going to help inspire and to keep us going? Okay, let's go. So interesting, this card popped up. 10 of Cups. That just kind of flipped out of the deck when we were drawing the cards. 10 of Cups reversed, I guess. But the 10 of Cups, right? The completion of a cycle. Cups are in this emotional state. And it's kind of, I guess that's kind of what I was talking about before we started to mix the cards up and to sort of connect. Yeah, it's getting into that emotional sort of state where your well-being isn't dependent on an outward state, right? And like, so that everything that is within becomes without. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so that's a kind of a very important lesson we're all kind of going through collectively, though. Things aren't just personal anymore in the sense of the vibration or the era that we're living in. That, yeah, it's all kind of unified. Like, we're all kind of going through this personal journey, yet it also plugs into the collective. Like, the collective of humanity is also going through this, right? And so that's really important to understand. Okay, so Queen of Swords. This is kind of, I guess this has been our past week in some ways. The King of Swords is in the present, right? And what stands above it is the Page of Wands. Yeah, man, oh man. Yeah, so much back and forth. Yeah, the deep state are definitely losing ground, and they really don't want people to sort of see how they are losing ground. Okay, so that's one thing. It's like the bombardment of the everyday people with lies, with clear, pure lies. Like, and for us that are awakened, we see it. So it's kind of our job, in however we can, to point out that what they're projecting onto us, the establishment, the mainstream media, the government, the corporations, all of this, how they're projecting falsities on every level, especially, okay, like with the Trump stuff and how, yeah, like what they're presenting, like the other side of it are basically like just lying and saying there is no evidence. Right, and it's the same deal with the COVID stuff and everything, climate, right? And they're lying. They're just clearly lying, but yet they cannot hold back the information that's coming out, right? Like, it's like there's enough people out there that are like searching this stuff out that they can't really stop it, right? Like, it's hard for them to stop, right? So that's one thing we got to keep in mind. Yeah, people have to sort of realize that things have been built up in people's minds for so long and in their hearts that you can't just sort of break that pattern right away. Like, it has to be sort of done in steps and stages, okay? The good side of the military, okay, like this patriot side of the military, doesn't want to be in control. They don't want to put the people on the planet in a position where a military junta, a military coup has to take place. They want us to understand the clear distinction between what the patriot side is doing and trying to accomplish, and what the deep state and what they're doing. And even though there is this kind of thing of like piggybacking of operations, there is a clear distinction in their techniques and their signature, okay? And that's something that people, and I guess maybe that's something that's going to come out more clearly, okay? Or maybe there's more information that comes out that sort of shows us this, but like, that's something they want us to know that there's like a clear line being drawn, okay? And see, and like, in order for us to not be used in this information war and to be pawns, we have to realize that clear distinction. That's what the cards are saying to me anyways. Okay, but some more information's coming out. Yeah, I'm kind of talking about this already. I'm already kind of talking about how they're sort of motivating us, or there's a side to this, like in the shadow element of this war, that is activating the people, right? Because those patriots, they are the people. Anybody that's sort of like, we're all just people, right? But the people that are fighting for humanity recognize this. That this is the other side of it. It's all about control. The social media infrastructure is being sort of really taken apart. Yeah, this is kind of like in step with what was sort of presented. I like this thing with Elon Musk is so concerning. It's also maybe kind of really positive. I mean, he definitely is on the forefront. Like him and Tucker right now are, I mean, because this team up, right? And just like releasing information, like the Twitter files and all the stuff that Tucker's been doing and all the stuff that he keeps dealing with. I mean, him battling the ADL and stuff. This is a positive for us as people, but like, we have to wait and see. Like, I mean, I don't want to get sucked into one deep state controller for another. Okay. And I mean, this is this thing of controlled opposition. So being sort of attentive to this, and this is kind of, I guess this is what this part of the reading is saying, is paying attention to that line. Okay. So when you've got somebody that is kind of like playing both sides like that, like openly, it can't be fully trusted. It just can't be until more evidence and more information comes out. But it's sort of like part of the sort of plan to kind of disable their, like the deep state's ability to fight, right? I think Elon Musk switched sides. I think something happened. I think this thing with his kid is kind of bigger than what's sort of being presented. Just this fighting this war. And I mean, he got caught in something. And so, and I think he switched sides. And I think that's what we're seeing. It's like battening down the hatches, equipping yourself with awareness and knowledge so that you're not battered. Like that Nine of Wands kind of talks about. He's kind of embattled, but he's built a shelter, or is it a barricade, or, you know? And so how we hide, especially when everything's been corrupted and the dark side has turned everything against us, the way to hide is in the light. Out in the full, there is no hiding. And that's kind of what it's saying. It's like our refuge is in the world, not the internet. Okay? Even though, you know, like I love the internet. I don't want to see the internet go away. I want to see the internet free. Okay? And I think the thing is just kind of enabling us to be empowered. This is what we have to sort of recognize, and going towards those things that empower us. Okay, so what else can we expect? What are we going to see this week? What are they going to throw at us? What's going on? What do we need to be prepared for? Let's see. Well, the economy. And I guess what's going to be coming up in this week is word around closing down the US government because there's not enough money. And they've been pouring all of their cash everywhere else. But this is also part of the op to close everything down so that they don't investigate Biden, because on the other part of it, all of this money that he's being given. This is what I was saying about, and then on the other side of it, the deep state run media is pushing this lie that there is no evidence, and yet there's tons of it, and it keeps coming out all the time. Okay, so that's genuine word. They're going to try to push on us that we are, you know, the economy is going to fall apart. Like there's no more money, and, you know, fear tactic, right? That's kind of what this Page of Cups talks about. But yet we kind of know this. Like, I mean, many of us are like, it's like 3 years ahead of the curve in so many ways, right? And yeah, it's just not working. It doesn't have the hold that it once did. That's why they have to do the bioweapon, weather war, actual war, psychotronic war kind of thing hidden to affect us, right? Because it's just the perceptions of people is shifting so radically, really trying to throw us off our track, all of us, right? All the track of the world. This guy, the Knight of Pentacles, he's following a certain track, right? And it's definitely like the pentacles represent the economy. Yeah, and I think that's something. We're going to see some weather war stuff. We're going to see, there's going to be some mysterious and anomalous things happen with this hurricane season and hurricanes moving around and weather systems being sort of created. And I don't know. Maybe actually some information on the forest fire situation, but like people are aware of this, that they are actively starting fires, okay? The thing in Maui doesn't easily go away. People are really upset. Like, I mean, they're taking people's land. They're pushing it. Oh, the other thing too was the New Mexico governor rescinding the First and Second Amendment because of a state of emergency that these people created, right? This is the kind of stuff that is activating people. These guys are definitely playing, like these deep state guys, they're on a script. They have to kind of implement certain things at certain times when there's certain thresholds in numbers and things, right? The people situation, the population situation, people coming across the border, it's bad. It's recognizable. It's affecting everybody. It's no good, right? And it needs to be called out. And people are starting to recognize it up in Canada, right? So that's one of those things. And that's kind of what has to happen. Yeah, and just getting back into that freedom vibe. That's what's needed, man, is people need to sort of regale and celebrate the fact that we are still free in certain ways and that we can actually we can affect the change that is needed. And people are amazing. When people start getting together and for the right reasons and from a place of heart, man, amazing things start to happen. And that, I think this thing of like freeing ourselves from the bondage of this evil, of these dark siders, of this part of the human condition that needs to control others, right? The freedom movement is something that offsets it, right? And that is a big part of Western culture, and it needs to be celebrated. And we can no longer appease this communistic Marxist sort of perception around victimology and the oppressor and this and that. The reconciliation is over. It's already happened. They're going to have to reconcile a whole other thing. So to even be caught in the past around all of those things, right? We have to realize that the motions that have brought us here are a part of that freedom movement, not to take away from it. Crazy. Okay, one more. Wow, look, all major arcana cards, okay? So that's kind of interesting. This is kind of a big motion. I mean, I get why people want things to happen quicker than they actually are, but that's not how things work. This card teaches us, actually, the whole tarot teaches us to take religious dogma on one level as allegory, which has been deemed heretical by various religions throughout the ages, right? But this is one thing that it teaches us, and this idea of the end time, us living in this end time. Like I was saying before, it's secular. There is no end and beginning. I mean, to me, what I think some of those teachings teach us is to break the cycle of reincarnation, That's kind of what we're here to do. I'm a firm believer in embracing. So you break the cycle of reincarnation by embracing the incarnation, embracing life, loving it, right? And not kind of playing into the fear-based perceptions that have been sort of promoted and pushed for so long, for thousands of years, right? Because those are the things that take away our energy. That's kind of our job, is to clear away perceptions and beliefs that no longer serve. Oh, I know it's hard. People want to fight. People want to fight back, and you have to resist that. You have to take the strength card and use it as a meditation of defeating pride through unconditional love. And it's so funny, the pride of the lion. And it's just like the unchecked ego when it becomes destructive. Okay, and that's the fight, right? But she tames the lion, right? But this is a kind of an interesting card, because to me, this card represents a continuation of the way, a continuation of the ancient practice that all the ancient masters and teachers have come to teach us. Yeah, it just represents the path of the one, the way, and how it's been transmitted throughout the ages, okay? But to utilize that and not fight the world, but be present in the world and to engage in your true being. And that's kind of part of it. It's not allowing all of these things that are there as purposefully to trap us and to ensnare our consciousness, to ensnare the intuition, but more of our consciousness, and kind of realize that is happening, but yet, because the human form is much more powerful than anything that the world can throw at us, we can disengage from it. We can actually utilize all of that energy and to help us move forward. But yeah, this week still, we need to gather our strength. We need to kind of take a pause if you have to. Good time to take a break in some ways, right? And clear it out, because we're approaching the end of the Mercury retrograde, and then things are going to shift. There's going to be a forward motion. I really feel like there's going to be kind of this exciting vibe going into winter, where normally it's not quite like that, right? But it's going to be an energy building throughout this year, right? And so we're being sort of prepared for it. So the thing is freeing ourselves from being the pawns of the dark side of the deep state, and empowering us to take part in this world and to engage our true being. I hope everybody enjoyed. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, like the video, leave a comment, please share it. And wherever you are, please have a wonderful day. I hope everything is well. Take care, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.